sun had barely risen over the bustling streets of Lagos when Mrs. Ifeoma Okoye stepped out of her silver SUV into the compound of a busy printing press in Ikeja. Her face was a mixture of fatigue and urgency as she clutched a thick folder to her chest. Inside that folder were sensitive documents, property papers, financial records, visa approvals, and business contracts that could determine the future of her thriving fashion business. But what truly weighed on her mind was the sleek black phone she carried in her bag. That phone was not just a communication device, it was her digital vault. The phone contained bank login credentials, signed contracts, and passwords to multiple international accounts. Its memory card was filled with scanned copies of legal documents, photographs of property, and business plans worth millions. Just last week, she had secured a multi-million naira deal with a textile firm in Turkey. Every document linked to that deal was stored in that phone. She had promised herself that she would back it up that evening. After reviewing her final set of designs at the press, Ifeoma stopped at a roadside stall to grab some snacks. Her mind was already planning her next steps. She had a flight to catch in 3 days. As she leaned into the stall to pay, she didn't notice her handbag slightly open. Somewhere between the printer's office and the roadside kiosk, her phone had slipped out. She only realized it was missing later that afternoon. By then, she was already back in her Lekki residence. She searched her car frantically, throwing open drawers and checking under the seats. She emptied her handbag, scattered files across her living room floor, and even questioned her driver. Panic gripped her chest like a vice. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered to herself, "God, no, please, not now." She retraced her steps, drove back to Ikeja, questioned the printing press staff, and even offered a reward to anyone who could help recover the phone. Please don't forget, if you're loving this video, go ahead and tap that subscribe button. It's free, and it helps us bring you more awesome content. Don't forget to turn on the bell so you won't miss a thing. We're so happy to have you with us. And if you're enjoying what you're watching, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community. Don't forget to click the bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops. Flyers were printed that same evening and stuck to lampposts. A message was blasted on her social media pages with her contact information. Missing black Samsung S22 Ultra. Contains vital documents. Reward of 500,000 for return. No questions asked. But the streets of Lagos were like rivers. Once something was dropped into them, it was nearly impossible to trace its path again. As the sun set, Mrs. Ifeoma sat on the edge of her bed, sobbing into her hands. Everything is gone," she murmured. It felt like her life had taken a sharp turn toward disaster. In the silent corner of her bedroom, her daughter Chiamaka watched helplessly. "Mom, should we contact the bank? Freeze the accounts?" she asked gently. Ifeoma nodded slowly. "Yes, but some of those accounts are not even in my name. I hope whoever finds that phone doesn't know what they're holding." Meanwhile, miles away from the luxury of Lekki, the streets of Ajegunle moved at their own pace. In this part of Lagos, where the air was thick with noise, heat, and the scent of burning kerosene, a teenage boy named Samuel lived with his mother and 2 younger siblings in a cramped one-room apartment. At 16, Samuel had long accepted that dreams were expensive and that survival was the only luxury he could afford. That evening, Samuel was rummaging through the metal dustbin outside a supermarket in Surulere. He was searching for discarded cartons, cans, or anything he could sell. His hands were dirty, his slippers torn, but his eyes were sharp.
He had learned to spot value where others saw trash. As he dug deeper into the bin, something black and shiny caught his eye. It was stuck between a crushed juice pack and a half-eaten plate of rice. He reached in carefully and pulled it out. A phone. A big, sleek phone with a cracked screen protector, but otherwise intact. His heart skipped. He glanced around. The streets were noisy, filled with commuters and street vendors, but no one seemed to notice him. He wiped the phone with the edge of his shirt and pressed the power button. To his surprise, the screen lit up. It wasn't locked. Not yet. Notifications popped up on the screen. Missed calls, emails, WhatsApp messages. The wallpaper was a photo of a woman in a blue lace gown standing in front of a large office building. She looked wealthy and important. Samuel stared at the phone, confused and a little afraid. He had never owned a phone this expensive. He didn't know much about technology, but he could tell this device was worth more than what his mother earned in a year. A part of him wanted to take it to the police, but another part whispered that this might be the moment he had been praying for. Back in Lekki, Ifeoma stared at her prayer beads, whispering desperate words into the silence. Please, let someone with a good heart find it. Unaware of each other, the lives of a wealthy businesswoman and a poor teenage boy had just collided in the most unexpected way. Samuel sat on the edge of a broken wooden bench outside their compound, the black phone cradled in his hands like a newborn. His mind raced with questions. Should he turn it in? Sell it? Keep it? He had no idea what to do. His stomach growled. He hadn't eaten since more of a hot plate of food only made him more restless. Still, he couldn't take his eyes off the device. Samuel! His mother's voice called from inside their single-room apartment. Come and fetch water before NEPA takes light. I'm coming, Mama, he shouted, back, quickly slipping the phone into the pocket of his shorts. Inside, the small room smelled of kerosene and soap. A single mattress lay on the floor, shared by the 3 children every night. The wall fan buzzed weakly, barely pushing the hot air around. His mother, a slim woman with tired eyes, was seated on a low stool, washing their only school uniforms by hand. Life had not been kind to her since Samuel's father died in a factory accident 5 years earlier. Samuel took the bucket and made his way to the community tap, still thinking about the phone. When he returned, he excused himself and slipped outside again. The streetlights flickered and the compound was quiet. He found a quiet corner under the zinc roof of an abandoned shed and powered the phone back on. To his surprise, it had no password yet. Notifications were pouring in. Missed calls, text messages, emails, even alerts from banks. He tapped the screen. One message stood out. It was from someone named Bank Manager UBA. The message read, Madam, we received your report. Access to your accounts has been temporarily suspended for security. Please contact us to verify your identity. Samuel frowned. Another message read, Visa appointment confirmed for May 20th, 9 a.m. Please bring supporting documents. He sat still. Something told him this phone wasn't just a normal phone. He opened the photo gallery and saw images of buildings, documents, bank screenshots with numbers that looked unreal. One folder was labeled Business Papers. He tapped it. Dozens of scanned legal documents appeared, certificates, contracts, bank receipts, and foreign IDs. Who is this woman? Samuel whispered to himself, scrolling through the files. It felt like he had just opened a treasure chest. That night, sleep didn't come easy. He tucked the phone under his pillow and stared at the ceiling, listening to the rats scurry in the dark. What would a person like that be doing in Surulere? Close to where he found the phone? Was she looking for it? Was she rich? By morning, Samuel made a decision. He had to know more. He skipped his usual morning run to the junkyard and instead borrowed 100 naira from his neighbor to go to a local phone technician in Boundary Market. The technician, a cheerful man called Uncle Ben, examined the phone with wide eyes. Omo, this phone is worth more than your entire street, Uncle Ben said with a laugh. Where did you see it? I found it near the dustbin close to Market Square. Uncle Ben looked at him, his face growing serious. This phone isn't ordinary. The person who owns this is not just rich, they're powerful. You should be careful. Samuel nodded. Can you help me find out more? Uncle Ben hesitated. Let me check something. He connected the phone to his laptop and began scanning. Soon, he found the email address linked to the device. Her name is Ifeoma Okoye. Looks like she runs a fashion business in Lekki. Very big woman. See these bank apps, UBA, GTB, Zenith, and look at the email, okoyefashions@gmail.com. This is serious. Samuel sat in silence. Ifeoma Okoye. He had never heard of her, but her world sounded like a universe away from Ajegunle. He thought of his mother's tired face, of his siblings who were starting to skip school because they couldn't afford books or food. Then he thought of all the zeros in those screenshots. It wasn't just a phone, it was a life. That afternoon, he walked to the community library, a dusty old building with barely functioning computers. He used one of the public terminals to search her name. Dozens of results appeared, articles about her fashion line, pictures of her at events, and interviews on YouTube where she talked about empowering women in business. She looked graceful, confident, wealthy. She must be crying now, he thought. He was torn between two voices in his head. One said, "Return it, do the right thing." The other whispered, "This is your chance. Don't waste it." That evening, Samuel sat with his mother under the mango tree in front of their building. She looked exhausted. Her fingers were raw from scrubbing clothes all day. They talked briefly about money. Rent was due. School fees were pending. Hunger lingered like a shadow. "Mama, if someone gave you a gift that could change your life, would you take it?" Samuel asked quietly. She looked at him. "As long as it's not stolen or cursed, I would thank God and take it with joy." Samuel nodded slowly. That night, he opened the phone again and began exploring deeper. He found an app labeled Crypto Wallet. He tapped it, and his breath caught. There were two accounts. One was empty. The other had a balance he didn't understand at first. He copied the number and searched online. When he saw the conversion in Naira, his heart nearly stopped. It was over 42 million. He stared at the screen for a long time. Then he stood up, walked to the window, and looked at the night sky. This could change everything. For the next 2 days, Samuel lived in a world of silent chaos. By day, he went about his usual chores, fetching water, helping his mother wash clothes, and collecting recyclables for resale. But by night, he was glued to the phone, diving deeper into its contents. He had found more than just crypto accounts. Hidden in a secure folder was a scanned file titled Power of Attorney, giving full legal authority to access several business and foreign accounts. Another folder labeled Investment Portfolio revealed shares in companies across Nigeria and Dubai. Each new discovery made Samuel feel as though he were holding the keys to a life that wasn't meant for someone like him. Still, a part of him remained cautious. He hadn't told anyone about the crypto wallet or the documents. Not even Uncle Ben. His instincts told him that the fewer people knew, the better. He wasn't a thief, at least he didn't think so. He had found the phone by chance, but now he was standing on a fragile bridge between right and wrong. On the third morning, he returned to the library with a mission. He searched for information about crypto trading and watched tutorial videos on how to transfer funds safely. He learned about Bitcoin wallets, cold storage, exchanges, and the need for identity verification. Most of it was overwhelming, but he paid close attention. What surprised him most was that the wallet on the phone didn't require any biometric verification to make transfers. The seed phrase and passwords were stored in the phone's notes app. It was almost as if the owner had trusted fate too much. By afternoon, Samuel had created a new wallet and moved a small portion of the funds, just enough to test if it would work. To his amazement, the money appeared in the new account within minutes. It was real. He stared at the balance in disbelief. 1.2 million. His knees weakened. He walked outside and leaned against the rusted iron gate. With that kind of money, his family could eat for a year. Rent could be paid. His younger siblings could go back to school. His mother could stop washing other people's clothes. All from just one transfer, and that wasn't even a tenth of what was left in the original account. That night, he did not sleep. The next morning, he visited Uncle Ben again, who still didn't know the full truth. "Uncle Ben," Samuel said carefully, "do you know anyone who can help someone travel abroad? Maybe to study or work?" Uncle Ben raised his eyebrows. Abroad? You'd a joke?" Samuel chuckled. "Just curious." "Well," Uncle Ben said, scratching his beard, "I have one cousin in Canada. He helps people apply for student visas if they have the money. But you go need serious cash, oh? At least $5 to soar to $6 million for processing, tuition, and visa." Samuel nodded. "Okay, just asking." Later that week, he withdrew a small amount of money, $50,000, from his new crypto wallet. He used an online exchanger who helped him convert it to Naira and deposit it into a newly opened account under a fake name. With the cash in hand, he went straight to a shop and bought groceries, new slippers for his siblings, medicine for his mother, and even a gas cylinder to replace their old kerosene stove. His mother stared at him in disbelief. "Samuel, where did all this come from?" "I've been saving, Mama," he lied. "Helping Uncle Ben. He paid me well." She didn't question further. She was too overwhelmed with gratitude. The next step came quicker than expected. Samuel contacted Uncle Ben's cousin in Canada using the details he provided. The man, Mr. Ifechukwu, was skeptical at first. "You say you're 16?" he asked over the phone. "Yes, sir. I finished my WEP 2 years ago. I couldn't go further because of money." "Do you have a passport?" "No, sir, but I can get one." "And you have money for the application?" Samuel hesitated. "Yes, sir, I can pay." "How much can you afford?" "I have at least 6 million. The line went quiet. "Come to my office tomorrow," Ifechukwu said finally. "No jokes. Bring whatever documents you have." By the end of the week, Samuel had processed a new passport under his legal name. He used a portion of the crypto funds to settle the agent's fees, pay for school admission abroad, and even secure a small apartment deposit in Ontario. Everything moved like a dream. Still, part of him couldn't rest. Each time he opened the phone, he saw missed calls from Chiamaka, Mr. Kelvin, and others. Dozens of voicemails poured in daily. "Please, if you find this phone, we are begging you," one said. "You will be rewarded. Please just call us." He listened in silence, guilt swirling in his chest. He hadn't forgotten about Mrs. Ifeoma Okoye, but each step he took toward his new life made the return of the phone feel more impossible. It was like he had stolen a future that was never meant for him, yet finally felt like it belonged. One night, unable to sleep, he wrote an email from an anonymous address to one of the contacts saved in the phone. "The phone is safe. The money is untouched. You may never see it again, but it changed my life. I will do good with it. I promise." He hit send, then turned off the phone for the last time and hid it deep under the floorboard of the shed behind his house. 10 days later, a Canadian visa was stamped in his passport. Samuel stood at Murtala Mohammed International Airport, holding a small travel bag, wearing a new pair of jeans and sneakers. His eyes sparkled with both fear and hope. He turned one last time to look at the city that had given him nothing for 16 years, until one lost phone changed it all. And with that, he walked toward Gate 17, where a plane waited to carry him into a future no one in Ajegunle could have imagined. 2 years passed like the blink of an eye. From the cold winters of Toronto to the warm lecture halls of Seneca College, Samuel grew into a young man no longer defined by hunger or hardship. He kept a low profile, studied with intense focus, and never told anyone the full story of how he got there. In his quiet moments, he often stared out of his small apartment window and remembered the dusty streets of Ajegunle, the cracked walls of their one-room home, and the weight of a lost phone that had altered his destiny. His life had become something he never imagined. Samuel now walked with confidence. He had finished his first diploma in business administration and was already working part-time with a startup focused on African fashion exports. Ironically, some of their client designs came from Lagos, and once he even saw the name Ifeoma Okoye Fashions on a shipment list. He froze when he saw it, but said nothing. It felt like fate reminding him never to forget the origin of his miracle. Every month, he sent money home. His siblings were back in school, one even attending a private secondary school. His mother had stopped doing laundry for others and now ran a small provision store that Samuel set up for her. They had moved to a better apartment in Yaba, closer to a good hospital and schools. Their life had changed, but Samuel never forgot the choice he made. He often wondered what became of Mrs. Ifeoma Okoye. From time to time, he searched her name online and saw that she was still active, still successful. But she had stopped using her personal contact line. Her social media showed new photos, new ventures, and new devices. It seemed she had moved on. One day, while attending a networking event in Ottawa, Samuel met a Nigerian diplomat who had once worked in Lagos. They talked over coffee, and as they exchanged stories, the diplomat casually mentioned knowing Ifeoma Okoye. "She's a tough woman," the diplomat said. "Lost a lot of money some time ago, misplaced her phone with documents and access to business accounts. Took her months to recover, nearly broke her, but she rebuilt fast." Samuel sipped his coffee in silence, guilt pressing on his chest. "Did she ever find the phone?" he asked. The diplomat shook his head. "No, rumor says a poor street boy picked it. They even posted a reward, but nobody came forward. Sad story. But she survived. She's in Dubai now, expanding her brand." Samuel nodded slowly. That boy must have had his reasons. The diplomat laughed. Or maybe God simply used him. That night, Samuel stood by the river that cut through the city and stared at the shimmering lights. He had never returned the phone, but he had honored his silent promise to do good with what he found. As he prepared for graduation, Samuel launched a non-profit initiative online called the Second Chance Fund. Its mission was simple: to support underprivileged teenagers in Nigeria with scholarships, skills training, and access to opportunity. In his first year, he helped 10 students get back into school. He paid for 2 girls to learn tailoring. He helped 1 boy start a computer repair business. He didn't do it to cover his guilt. He did it because he understood the power of one unexpected moment, one twist of fate. Years later, during a TEDx youth talk in Vancouver, Samuel shared part of his story, carefully. He didn't mention the phone or the crypto wallet. Instead, he spoke about growing up in a forgotten part of Lagos, about digging through trash, about finding hope in the most unlikely places. "I believe the universe gives second chances," he said to a standing ovation. "But sometimes it doesn't give them directly. Sometimes it hides them inside a dustbin and waits to see what you will do with what you find." Afterward, many approached him with admiration. But one woman, dressed in a flowing red gown, stood out. She looked at him for a long time, then smiled. "You remind me of someone I once lost," she said. Samuel smiled back, heart pounding. "Maybe you found someone else instead." They shook hands. Then she walked away. He never knew if it was her. But it didn't matter. His journey was no longer about guilt. It was about growth. The end of the story. Please don't forget, if you're loving this video, go ahead and tap that subscribe button. It's free and it helps us bring you more awesome content. Don't forget to turn on the bell so you won't miss a thing. We're so happy to have you with us. And if you're enjoying what you're watching, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community. Don't forget to click the bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops. And don't forget, type on comments section which country you are watching from and watch more on African folktale stories. Thanks.